good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to Day 10 of the 2019 ACHA National Championship Tournament here from Frisco, Texas, and welcome to ACHA Tonight as we break down all the action from the Women's Division 1 and 2 tournaments and the Men's D3 National Championship. We'll talk about that with Lou Gamlin here in just a minute, but first let's break down the ladies' divisions. Here to join me to talk about Women's Division 1 is Casey Roll, the silky smooth voice of the ACHA broadcast. You've heard him on the play-by-play for a lot of these games, and you've been a part of this D1 tournament since the beginning here back earlier this week. Just your thoughts before we talk about the semis of the tournament so far.
You know, first, Matt, I want to say, did I miss the memo? Did I miss the ACHA Tonight dress code memo? I went full-on sports coat, and I brought the tie because I wasn't sure how much the protocol was last day. I feel super overdressed now.
I think you're okay. Not only does he have the best voice, he's the best dressed of all of us here at the tournament. But I think you're okay here for this.
Okay, that's
good. You called the games
good.
Earlier today. We're willing to stick around and help us out, so we appreciate it.
Yeah, I've stuck around for a little bit.
All right,
Not too bad.
Let's talk about the semifinals. The first game we saw was Lindenwood Belleville taking on Adrian. We thought the Bulldogs were going to be the team that's going to go back, set up this rematch of last year's championship game between Liberty and Adrian. But the Lynx, after falling in Game 1 against Grand Valley State in the first round, they have just been on a tear since then, and they get the win over Adrian this week.
You know, Matt, it's really funny you mentioned that because we have a four-man broadcast unit for Women's D1, and everyone unanimously thought it was going to be a rematch. 24 hours ago, Lindenwood University Belleville was on the edge of their seats against number 7 Grand Valley State. 24 hours later, they're in the national championship game for the first time under head coach Kat Hanna, who, by the way, is the head coach for the only all-women's coaching staff here in National Women's Month in the United States. So definitely a very good story to follow, these Belleville Lynx. And honestly, they do it all ways necessary. The sophomore defenseman, Lindsay Gillis, who leads the tournament in points, 9 points and 4 goals. And just to give you some insight, her longest goal streak all season was 2 games. She has 3 consecutive games with the goal, which includes 2 multi-goal games. And the captain, Ashley Dietmeyer, after scoring yesterday against Grand Valley State in overtime, one of 4 goal scorers today for these Lynx. And really, Adrian College just got outclassed and outcoached in the semifinal.
All right, so the Lynx punched their ticket to the championship game. We saw in the nightcap Liberty against Miami. We knew that Miami wanted to play Liberty because they tied them in the regular season. Thought they had a shot at knocking off the defending champs, but the Flames were just too much for Miami to handle. They got a couple of early goals and just kind of clamped down in this one.
You know, that was the one game that actually stuck to schedule and when it came to our expectations. Ripley Crosley had faced 53 shots and made 53 saves, but I just want to say, I don't think we give enough credit to Nadia Rupali, the goaltender for the Flames. She's allowed 2 goals all tournament, and she's got a save percentage of over 96 in 3 games played. I mean, this is a goaltender who played 1 game in the ACHA tournament last season, 10 minutes in relief, and now she has a chance to lead the best team in the country to another national championship.
Well, that's the funny part about these tournaments. You get these unsung heroes that no one really pays attention to stat-wise, and then they come up out of nowhere and put in these kind of performances, and now the Flames are in the title game yet again because of her performance.
And it's also really interesting to see how deep this Flames team is when the National Player of the Year, Lauren McDonald, is your second-line starting center. That's just how deep the Flames are. McDonald, the Player of the Year. And the funny thing is, she was more of a facilitator this year. Her career high in goals was last season with 32. She had a very modest 13 goals and 40 points, but has a couple goals in this tournament, and this Liberty Flames team, easily the most prolific scoring team from top to bottom. But you look at it stats-wise, tomorrow should be a goalie matchup, but I won't be surprised if we have a 5-4 goal game.
All right, so we do get the championship game. It's Lindenwood Belleville taking on Liberty. Winner moves on, or winner takes home the championship trophy. What's the big key for you to watch in tomorrow's championship?
Well, I want to see the first line from both teams. Ashley Dietmeyer, the captain for the Lynx, she's got goals in back-to-back games. Lindsay Gillis, as mentioned, she leads the tournament in points and goals. And with Liberty, it's just a barrage of scoring threats. And to make something even more interesting, Alex Smeebert is a junior. She led the entire tournament in goals and points last season. She's played 4 games and has not registered a point. So just think about the junior out of Dorchester, British Columbia, getting a goal tomorrow. And Goaltending, as always, Hannah Stone, a freshman, against a junior, Nadia Ripoli. Going to be a great matchup, and it features two goaltenders with sub 2.5 goals against averages. Each of them are ranked top 10 in the country at the end of the regular season in save percentage, goals against average, and shutouts.
So you're saying it's going to be a goaltending battle. It's what it sounds like from all that stuff. It's going to come down to these 10.
It's either going to be a 1-0 game or it's going to be a good 10-goal combined game by the end tomorrow. It's going to be one of the two, no in between. I'm going to say that.
All right, they have the call. Casey's going to be on the call for the D1 Championship tomorrow afternoon. It'll be at 3 o'clock right here at the Comerica Center after the Women's Division II Championship, which takes place at noon. Casey's going to be on the call for the D1. Thomas Biondo is going to be on the call for the Division II National Championship. We'll talk to him next right here on ACHA Tonight.
Dallas, Texas, in a stadium that has been sold out for months, the Cotton Bowl.
Notre Dame leading 17-14. 1:10 remaining in the game, and Texas will Street at quarterback. Street gets to the second man for a touchdown for Texas.
The 2020 Bridgestone NHL Winter Classic, an annual celebration of hockey's heritage. Tickets on sale April 23rd. The Cotton Bowl, New Year's Day. It's gonna be a classic.
And welcome back to ACHA Tonight as we continue to break down Day 10 of the 2019 ACHA National Championship Tournament. We got 1 day left. We're going to crown 2 champions tomorrow in the women's divisions. Division 1, we talked with Casey a moment ago. Joining me now is Thomas Biondo to talk about our semifinals from Division 2. 2 tickets punched to the national championship. One's returning to that title game, looking for some revenge. But the team that they're looking for is not going to be there. We'll talk about that in a second. But Minot State taking on Bishop's University in the first semifinal, and that was a fun one.
It was a fun one because, you know what, it was a, you know, you have games where you feel like a 2-0 lead is just, there's no chance it's the team with the 2 is going to be caught. The 0 just has no chance of getting on the board. This was a 4-0 game that always felt like Bishop's was in it. Because final shots ended up being 31-29 in favor of Minot, so it was a very close shooting game. It was that way forever. It wasn't like a shooting barrage at the end, but it was 4-0 after the first 40. But 2 goals in the first 3 minutes of the third period made it a 4-2 game. It looked like they had something going there, but they couldn't get the next one. And then what ended up happening, a couple of penalties back-to-back. I thought they were questionable calls in the final 4 minutes. And, of course, Minot did what Minot does. They took advantage of it and cashed in with power play goals.
Yeah, so Minot State moves on to the championship game. They were there a season ago before they fell to Lakehead. Back-to-back defending champions. They were in the other semifinal, taking on an Assiniboine Community College squad that was looking for their first national title appearance in school history. And this was a fun one on my side of the rink. It was a very low-scoring, low-shot account. I think the shots were 5-5 after the first period. When we've seen a tournament that's been laded by 30-shot periods and things like that.
If you love defense.
This was my game. So it was an end-to-end battle. Lakehead got the goal in the second period to go up 1-0. It looked like, all right, the Thunderwolves have figured things out. They're going to start carrying the momentum. They took the 1-0 lead to the third period. But the Cougars came out just super strong in the third period. The shots were, I think, about 14-2 in the third and final period. The Cougars get the goal at about the 11-minute mark as Simone Turner-Cummer gets the goal to tie it up halfway through the period. She scores again with about 5 minutes left as the Cougars held on to win 2-1. They're in the national championship for the first time in school history, and they seem to be riding high as they're going to take on a Minot State squad that looks unbeatable at this point. But just I want to ask about you. I've seen Assiniboine the entire tournament. You've seen Minot State the whole tournament. So I'm curious how this game's going to go because Assiniboine, to me, I'm not sure how the offense is going to be for the Cougars. Minot State looks pretty solid, at least on the offensive side, but they've shown gaps defensively at times. We saw Bishops exploit it a couple times today in the semifinal. Assiniboine can get into those spots and maybe throw a wrench into Minot State's run towards redemption.
Well, you know, but you said the big thing is that they have about 4 scorers that are grade A scorers, scoring options, and then probably another 3 or 4. It's just the depth that they have. Today, Gowdy had 2 goals and an assist. Grimstead had a goal and 3 helpers. And Grimstead in the tournament, just 4 games so far. The 3 pool play games and then the game today. 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points. Gowdy has 8. 2 players didn't score today. Was Mackenzie Bellog one of the big shooters on the team during the regular season, and before that, 9 goals, 3 assists, 12 points. And remember, if she didn't score today, got those 12 points in the first 3 games. And Samantha Jo Henry, their camp, 4, 2, and 6, and she didn't score. I love their offense so much. Now, to your point, though, there's been times where Tornado has looked uncomfortable, who's played the majority of their net. Just good numbers. It's one of those things that, it's the eye test. And there are times that during the eye test, I feel like Tornado has struggled. But for the most part, obviously, she's been good enough to carry this team to the national championship game.
So it's going to be Minot State against Assiniboine. The girls to watch on the Assiniboine squad. Coach Simone Turner-Cummer had the 2 goals for the Cougars in today's championship game. Rachel Charles has been the big name to watch for Assiniboine. Had a hat trick in the final day of pool play. She's kind of the leading points person for the Cougars. They like to set up in the offensive zone. They're not a really running gun team. They like to set up in the offensive zone and capitalize on their opportunities. That's how they got both of their goals in today's game against Lakehead. That's something I'm thinking that they'll have to exploit against Minot State, who seems they're more of a run and gun kind of team.
I think Minot can play with you any way you want. Because they can get up and down the ice, and because we've had stretches in a couple of the games where we literally, stop, 3 up, 3 on 2 the other way, stop, 3 on 2 coming back, and there's been times that they just haven't given the puck up for 2 minutes. So I mean, I feel like they'd be comfortable playing either way. I don't know. I don't believe they've trailed in this tournament. So that first goal.
That first goal.
Oh, that's right. They trailed Rowan 1-0 and they won 17-1. So they turned it around quickly. But that could be key if they can get a goal or 2 in the early going. That may be very key for Assiniboine to get them starting to feel like, whoa, what is this? What is this going on here?
So I'm looking up at the banners. We have the Women's Division II banners right above me. So you see me looking up at these banners, and my assumption is confirmed. Neither of these teams has won the national championship in this flight. Lakehead has won it the back-to-back years. Minnesota Duluth the year before that. So both these teams will be itching for this national championship. It's at noon tomorrow. Right here behind us at the Comerica Center as the tournament shifts from McKinney over to here. They get to play on the big rink. They get the big superstar treatment with the broadcast. You're going to be on the call for tomorrow. What's the big key that you're looking for?
I really do think it's going to come down to slowing the Minot offense, and that is definitely bias. Let me tell you, I've seen him 4 times. You haven't caught him yet. You saw Assiniboine 4 times. I haven't seen them yet, but it just looks like that when they need a goal or they want a goal, they go get the goal. And until I see somebody stop that, or just a hot goaltender that keeps it out of their net, I mean, I'm going to go with what I've seen. Now, again, that's what I've seen. But they were the number 1 seed in the East, the number 1 seed in the West. They had, I believe, a 26-1 record, something around there, with their lone loss being to Lakehead. So, I mean, it's not just this 4 games of this tournament. It's been the entire season for them, and you're right. I'm excited that they get to come over here to play. The games have been great. The pool plays were great. We were so well taken care of at McKinney by both ACHA staff and the D2 women's commissioning staff, and it was just a really, really good 4 days that we had there. But they get to come play in front of the lights here.
I do want to give a shout out to the Star Center staff over there in McKinney. They did an excellent job in helping us out with the tournament. And we'll thank the commissioners. Forward Women's Division I, Division II helping us out. Russ Flagle as well helping us out today over there. We want to thank all those guys as we get ready to come over here for Championship Sunday. We're down to one final day here at the ACHA National Championship Tournament. The Women's Division I and II crowns will be awarded tomorrow as we kick it off at noon as Assiniboine takes on Minot State. The top 2 seeds out of the West battle it out in the National Championship at noon. At 3 o'clock, it will be the Lindenwood Belleville Lynx taking on the Liberty Flames in the Women's D1 Championship, and we'll recap both those games right here on ACHA tomorrow night. We did crown another champion tonight as we crowned the D3 champion, a new champion for the first time. We'll talk about that next with Lou Gamlin right here on ACHA tonight as we wrap things up here on day 10 from Frisco, Texas.
Come on! You know the answer. You studied for this. Come on. Timmy! Come on, Timmy. You got this, son. Pencil to paper. Focus. Come on, Timmy. Focus. Focus. Take the puck. There you go. Skate! Skate! Pass it! You call that a pass? What are you doing? You missed the puck! Come on!
And welcome back to ACHA Tonight as we wrap things up on day 10 of the 2019 ACHA National Championship Tournament. I'm Matt Coma. That's Luke Gamlin. He was on the call for the D3 Men's National Championship game tonight between Sioux College and Grand Valley State. We knew it was going to be an uphill battle for the Lakers as they got the game's first goal tonight, but tell us how the rest of these 60 minutes went here in this championship game.
Well, I'll tell you, it was the only surprise was the outcome, 12-3. I didn't think it would be that much of a rout, but you know, after it was 1-0, as you said, it was a nice wraparound goal by Reeder Burgesson for Grand Valley. Ryan Jones and I did the call, and we looked at each other and we thought, this might be a pretty good game. But after that, Ryan Vandermeen said, you know what, enough is enough, and he got a couple of goals. They've got four goals in about 3 minutes, and then a couple of goals right at the end. In the second period was when it just all broke loose. And I think they went 1 point. They got 5 goals in the first 5 minutes, and then a power play goal, and then a goal on a clear that was just amazing. And they're a very good team, and you can't take anything away from Sioux College. They came to play all year, all tournament. Going into the championship game, in 4 games, they had 34 goals. They added 12, so 46 goals in 5 games, 9 goals a game in this tournament. You're not going to lose very many games with scoring 9 goals. I don't care what league you play in.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Sioux in just a minute, but first let's talk about Grand Valley State. Okay. The first time to get to this stage for them is they get through on that semifinal game yesterday. They get to the championship game. They hung around for a little bit. Yes, you kind of got a little lopsided in there, but the Lakers didn't quit, and they actually had a pretty strong showing here in this championship.
Well, the old cliche is a bounce or two goes your way, things could change, and it almost did. I mean, they were 2-1 down, I believe. They had a couple of 2-on-1 breakaways in the first period, and one of them, just one bounced off the post. Another one, they had a long rebound that just went on top of the goal. So, I mean, one of those goes in, it's 2-2. Then you never know, because, a team that like a Sioux College that is very good, you give them a little bit of run. We said it on the broadcast after Grand Valley scored that first goal. Here's a team that's been, a lot of these teams in the national tournament, they come here and they don't lose very often. They're not behind very often. How would Sioux College act if they were behind? Well, as we saw when they were behind 1-0, they just stepped it into a third gear in the first period. But Grand Valley, I thought, if a couple of those bounces would have gotten their way, 2-2 at the end of 1, 3-2, or instead of 4-1, it might have been a different contest. But when they came out and the Sioux just put the pedal to the metal, you're down 9-1, 10-1. If you've ever played any athletic event, psychologically, it's just so tough to try to get back in it after you're down that many goals.
All right, so let's talk about the champions, Sioux College. They pretty much rolled through this tournament. They put up dozens of goals in the first 3 games of pool play, and they didn't put as much up in the semifinal, but they came out strong here in this championship game. Really put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, in this championship game, and they were the dominant team throughout the tournament, and it showed again here tonight in the championship.
Oh, by far, Matt. They came out with a 10-1 win, I think it was, in the opening game against Wisconsin-Milwaukee. They rolled through Ramapo. They rolled through Central Florida. I mean, and I think they called the dogs off, so to speak, in the third period of that game. They ran into a Fairfield team that has got one of the top goaltenders in the country. They put 6 on him, and, Fairfield plays a grind-em-out defensive style of hockey, and they slowed them down a little bit. And, Grand Valley, they're the type of team that they can slow the pace down. They did it this weekend against Farmingdale State and against Michigan. That game yesterday really surprised me how well Grand Valley did. But when they came in today, some of these tic-tac-toe passes that the Sioux made, and it's funny, I was watching them in warm-ups, and a lot of times I don't pay attention to warm-ups. I just pay attention to see who the goaltender is. And I was watching what they did, and every shot they took at the net was in the upper foot. They were all aiming for the crossbar and all aiming for the corner bar, and none of them were low. And if you notice in those scores tonight, they caught Rosenbaum down early, and they were all top shelf. 2 and 3 on 1, tic-tac-toe. The one goal, I think the first or second one of Vandermeen had, all 5 of them touched it from the red line down. NHL teams don't do that. And it was just an exhibition of great hockey.
So the Sioux College Cougars are the champions of the men's Division III for the first time here in 2019. It's been a fun ride here to
Sure
Championship
has.
Saturday. Just before I let you go, your thoughts over the tournament.
Well, the tournament from top to bottom, I think, was run well. There was some great hockey, a lot of different types of hockey. You've got the high-powered team of Sioux College. You had the great goaltending of Fairfield. Fordham, a new team, came in, surprised a couple of teams with their play. They went 2-1. I mean, they took Florida Gulf Coast. They beat them with their style of hockey, I believe it was. They one game they shot, you know, their goaltender stopped 65 shots. You had the grind them out hockey of some of the teams, but all in all, the level of play, it seems to get better every year. And I was talking to a couple of the coaches, and I asked them, I said, what has been the difference in the last 5 to 10 years? And they said the speed of the kids, the speed and the accuracy of the shots were the two things that I had at least 3 coaches tell me, and it definitely is evident on with the kids now.
All right, so I do want to give one shout out to the folks over at the Star Center in Plano for helping us put this tournament on. I want to thank the D3 commissioner and the rest of the ACHA staff here for helping us out over here as well. It was really a fun tournament to watch, and I'm sure it was a fun tournament to call.
Oh, it sure was. Like I said, you know, they're too numerous to mention all the people that you want to thank. You know, the people behind the scenes, as we said in the broadcast, you know, they're the MVP. You know, the guys, you know, like yourself and AJ that, you know, have been here, and Josh, you know, I don't want to leave anybody out, but you guys are the ones that put this together. You're the backbone. I mean, you get here and grind it out for a week before we even show up, and you just, you know, show us the way. And that goes true with, like you said, the commissioners, the vendors, you know, the janitor crew, everybody. And I'm telling you, it's such a fun week, the 10 days for us, and I'm already looking forward to next year. Can't wait.
All right, so Sioux wins the 2019 National Championship in the men's Division III flight. We still have 2 more champions to crown tomorrow. We got one more day, day 11, the final day of the tournament, as the women's 1 and 2 divisions crown their champions tomorrow. It kicks off at noon tomorrow with Assiniboine taking on Minot State, followed by at 3 o'clock you'll see Liberty taking on Lindenwood Belleville. That's going to do it for us here on ACHA tonight on day 10. We'll be back one final time after the Division I Women's Championship tomorrow afternoon. We'll have the full recap of the days that were here at the tournament here in Frisco. It's going to be a fun ride. Lou, thanks for coming on. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate everything you've done here with the D3 tournament, and we can't wait to have you back next year.
Thank you. I look forward to it, and thank you again.
All right, that's going to do it for us here tonight. Reminder, join us again tomorrow for our final show of the tournament, and be sure to tune in to the women's D1 and 2 championships at noon and 3. I'm Matt Comas signing off. We want to thank everyone with the ACHA staff. We'd like to thank our broadcast crew for helping us out with this one. Josh Havely behind the camera, Andrew Saunders, technical director, and AJ Bolden, director of broadcasting here for the ACHA. Everybody else we want to thank as well. They have been outstanding throughout the tournament. I have so many more people to thank tomorrow on ACHA tonight. Basically, the show is going to be me thanking everybody at this point. But we want to thank you so much to you, the fans, for watching as well. We'll wrap things up tomorrow here from the Comerica Center as we put a bow on the national championships in 2019. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow for Championship Sunday right here on ACHA Tonight. Good night, everybody.